Hey guys, welcome back to the Detour. I'm Cecily, and today we're going to be revisiting our posture, specifically waking up the backside. So the backs of our shoulders, our lower back, our butt muscles, and our leg muscles. So roll out your mat and I'll see you here. All right, so we're gonna get started coming down onto the belly. If you tend to have any kind of discomfort when you lie flat on your stomach and your lower back, then you might want to have a flat pillow or a blanket that you can place underneath your hips. We're going to come all the way down. And just take a moment first with the head resting on the hands to let everything get comfortable. And once you get sort of the feeling of your hips down into the floor and make sure there's no compression in your lumbar spine, we're going to take the arms off to the side. So I'm going to line the arms up in more of a T shape so the wrists are in line with the shoulders. And the forehead here can stay down. And then I'm going to activate the middle of my shoulder blades and lift those arms up off the ceiling. I'm just keeping my head a bit lifted so that you can hear me, but feel free to keep your forehead on the floor. So again, my arms come up, they stay straight, and I'm really focusing here on two things. One is to initiate that movement from the muscles right between my shoulder blades, more than doing all the lifting from my arms. And the second is to keep my bum turned on enough so that my pubic bone is pressing more down than lifting up into extension. So I'm going to keep the lumbar spine nice and long as I work the arms here into the shoulders. So we want to do about 10 of those lifts all together. And it's about 6. You got a little bit of pressure of the feet moving down into the floor. And I'm staying conscious of drawing my tailbone down more toward my heels and the lower ribs in away from the floor. Next, staying nice and long. One more time. I'm going to hold it up there. And then from here, looking to either side, head's going to come up. I'm going to bend my elbows to 90 degrees. I'm doing the best I can, just checking in on either side, to see that the elbows are resting in line with the shoulders. I want to keep the elbows there. I'm going to keep the head just floating up, but chin drawn in. And then I'm going to do a little pivot of the forearms going up toward the ceiling and then down toward the floor. But as I'm moving the forearms, I'm thinking of keeping the elbows almost frozen in space. So there's very little variation there in terms of the height of the elbow. And the wrists also stay straight. If you feel some tension creeping into your lower back, come back to turning on the bum. It's that little correction I just did from kind of sinking in to lengthening out. Let's do 4 more of these raises with the forearms. Already probably feeling a bit of heat and activation there in the upper back. Good, and I'm going to hold the arms up, keep that 90 degrees, and pull the elbows back together. And then glide them forward. Pull them back. And glide them forward. Every so often, check in with what's happening in your neck. If it's getting a little bit tense, draw that chin in. As the elbows pull back, think of drawing the top of the head forward, so we're decompressing through the neck. We'll do 3 more of these squeezes. Keeping the glutes engaged, pressing down through the front hip bones. On the next one, hold the elbows back, give that a good squeeze, and I'm going to move the arms all the way into extension behind me. So the palms are lifted, thumbs are pointing in, and I'm going to raise the arms up and bring them back down. Lift them up and down. As you lift, try and keep the arms narrow. Still straighten the wrists, still straighten the elbows. 2 more. And then hold them up nice and straight and just pulse them toward each other. Let's go for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and now hold them back. Think of reaching your fingertips towards your heels, lengthening with the top of the head. Take a breath. And then relax it all. Just letting your head turn to one side. Just take a couple more breaths there. And then when you're ready, make your way back up onto your hands and knees. Take a seat on your heels. Just take a moment. Notice how things are feeling in the upper back. Maybe a bit warm, a bit tingly. And then we're going to come up onto tall kneeling position. So as I set that up, the knees are underneath the hips. I'm going to bring the arms right down by my sides. And now see if you can feel a sense of external rotation there in the shoulders. So as I do that, I'm not thinking of pinning my shoulders onto my back, like squeeze them together. I'm just allowing them to kind of shift onto my rib cage in a way that keeps me from going here, okay? So as I get that external rotation happening in my shoulders, I'm thinking of keeping a straight line from this point at the top of my sternum to this point right at the bottom, so that my ribs are gonna sit right over my top hip bones rather than forward of them, okay? So with the external rotation of the shoulders and the arms, that vertical sternum, lift up to the top of the head, and then very slowly take a little lean back. And then we'll come back up. Okay, we'll do that again in a way where we're not releasing it all into a back bend. It's almost like there's bungee cords in between your low ribs and the top of your hip bones. And I maintain lots of length up to the top of my head as I lean back. And come back up. We'll do 3 more. See if you can find a little bit of pause, a little bit of shake in that bottom position. Last time. Hold it there for 3, 2, 1, and come back up and have a seat. Come back to your breathing. And so while we probably were feeling some burning, some activation in the quadriceps there, the muscles in the backs of the legs are what we're trying to find, turn on, the hamstrings and the glutes. So the next time we do that same movement, let's think about that a little bit more. Finding that work first on the stomach. So returning down onto the belly. This time you can have your head resting on your hands. I'll keep mine up again just so you can hear me. But pressing down through the pelvis, I'm going to point the toes. The work here now is in trying not to disturb what's happening in my lower back. I'll take this off so you guys can really see what's happening there. So, lengthening down through tailbone rather than letting this happen. Pressing down into the front of the pelvis, trying to lift the right leg up. And as I'm lifting the right leg, the temptation often is to roll into one side. So I'm also thinking of holding my left hip down on the floor as that right leg goes up and down. Notice the knees not bending. And as you continue to do a few more reps, see if you can feel which muscles are activating to make this happen. Again, if you've stayed up like I am and you're feeling this in your lower back, then go ahead and drop the head. And think of hollowing it a bit more through your ribs and through your navel, which might mean that your leg doesn't go up as far. We want to feel the muscles in the back of the thigh, the hamstrings, as well as the glutes, doing this work. Let's try the other side. So again, I push the whole pelvis down into the mat, and then I try and keep the lower back from sinking toward the floor. Working hip extension without relying on spinal extension at the same time. 3 more on the side. Good, and then I bring it all together, settling again comfortably on the hips and on the low ribs. Arms are going to come back behind me. And from here, I'm going to keep my palms down, chin drawn in, forehead a little bit up off the floor. Find that sense of activation of drawing the pelvis down into the mat. And then it's almost like I'm pushing through my hands to lengthen out again to the top of my head through the neck. I push through the tops of my feet, but I'm going to try and find all that activation that we were using when the feet were lifting to get the hamstrings, to get the bum on. And now from here, the arms float. My thumbs turn up, so now we're moving the arms the opposite direction the last time. And with the palms facing away from me, I'm reaching back toward my ankles, drawing in through that lower ribs, drawing in through the chin, and out through the top of the head. Let's try and breathe here. Just holding. Three more breaths. Reach those arms back a little bit further. Last one. And then relax everything down. Press into your hands. Shift back into child's pose for a few breaths with arms either forward or sitting back behind. We're going to come back up again onto the knees and find our way into that tall kneeling position. As you do that, just notice if you feel any different this time in your back or in your legs, any more indication of where that work was kind of being felt the most. Lining up the hip bones over the knees. So what muscles are doing that work? Right back here. Okay, and then arms down by the sides. Opening up the thumbs away from you. Feeling the collarbones lengthen, feeling the crown of the head lifting up. But then dropping that xiphoid process, that bottom point of your sternum down. Take a breath. And then lean back. And come back up. Does it feel any easier this round? Go again. And one more time. Hold it there for 3, 2, 1, and come back up. Have a seat. Give it a little shake. Take a couple breaths. And from here, we're going to move over onto our back. All right, so then as we lie down with knees bending, getting acquainted now with having your body in contact with the floor in a different way than how we had it on the belly. So just take some time, get comfortable for a moment. Notice your breathing. Maybe place a hand on the belly or on the chest and try and calm the breath to the point where the belly is moving a bit more than the chest. Eventually, the chest is staying totally still. When you feel the breath has started to soften a bit, let's draw the arms again back down by the sides, keeping the palms faced up just to keep those shoulders again in external rotation, toes pointing forward, and now looking for that sense of activation through the glutes, through the hamstrings, by pulling your heels towards your hips. You can see that little bit of movement as I pull, activating there through the backs of the thighs. And I'm going to start to engage through the glutes, the bum muscles, and use that to lift my hips up off the floor. So as the hips go down and up, I'm trying not to let the ribs press up toward the ceiling at the same time. So it's just the pelvis elevating the spine, rather than the spine pulling up the pelvis. Let's do 2 more of those raises. And on the last one, we're going to hold it here. And now consciously feel the backs of your shoulders move into the floor. And if it's getting a little bit tight in your neck, if your chin is pulling down, just keep the chin raised a little bit so there's some space in the back of your neck. But consciously look for those ribs again to draw in as the hips press up. Even weight through the 4 corners of each foot. Big toe mound, baby toe mound, inner and outer heel. Just keep holding up those hips. And then come back to that feeling of pulling your heels towards your bum, getting those hamstrings fired up. 3 more breaths, just holding. Nice, and slowly let the hips come back down toward the floor. Drawing the knees in toward the chest. Give them a little squeeze, a little rock side to side. And let the arms relax. The legs are going to come up into the air and just give them a little shake out. And then 1 foot at a time, find its way back down to the mat. And then go ahead and just find a comfortable resting position here. So It might be exactly as you are, or with the feet wide, you might take the knees together so they support each other. Or you might be a fan of feet together, knees wide, or legs straight out. Any of these options, just let your body kind of get comfortable for a moment. And notice if it's possible for the front of your body here to just let go. The front is what we've been opening, the back is what we've been activating. So the back now is kind of passively being held together by the floor. The front is being opened. And come back to your breathing. Softening across the chest. Inflating not only to the belly, but also into your sides and into your back. Stay here for as long as it feels good to be here. When you're ready to move out, we'll bend the knees first. Draw them back in towards the chest. And then take your time just rolling off to whatever side feels best and helping yourself up to seated. Returning to a seated position where you can just assess and observe where everything's at, how things feel. And then we'll continue on with the day. I hope this helped make your day a great one. I look forward to seeing you next time as we follow the detour together.